If you are an ambitious private security agency looking to stand out in the crowd of thousands of other private security agencies by making a brand, then this video is just for you. Since I am a two-time entrepreneur, a business strategist, and an MBA, I've got the opportunity to work with and study multiple businesses across industries. And you know what is common in those businesses who make it big? It is not really the best product or service, but it is the best brand. And that is exactly why I'll walk you through this brand canvas. And not only that, I will also give you the link to download this brand canvas for free so that you can fill it up for your private security agency and take the first step towards industry domination. So let's begin. So what you see on your screen is the empty brand canvas that has been created just for you. And this is where the story begins. First, you start by entering the name and identity of your agency. Then you talk about the goal. Now, think of this goal as the end objective that you are trying to achieve by investing your time, money, and effort into building a strong brand. Once you have decided that, we'll now enter the brand canvas. So, we begin by discussing the arena. Now, what is arena? It is the environment your agency competes in. So different states, different geographies will have different business environments. Based on that, you have to define what is the environment that you are competing in. This is an extremely important step because all subsequent steps that you take will be dependent on this particular step. Then comes capabilities. It is the internal strengths that make your agency unique, including special services, technology use, or niche expertise. Now, a lot many times when I speak with private security agency owners and I ask them what is their core skill or what is their USP, more often than not, they tell me generic things that our guards are well trained, that our guards are well groomed. Is that really your differentiator? Is that really something that will set you apart from the crowd? Or on the other side, is that really something that your client can tangibly visualize and feel? If your end client cannot tangibly feel the difference, then it is not really your USP. So when you're thinking about your capabilities, think about those capabilities which actually make you different from the crowd. Then comes culture. Again, very important, right? So culture is all about the values, behaviors, and mindset that define how your team operates and interacts with clients and each other. Remember, that brand is not just your website or your logo or your company brochure. It is much more than that. It has to be integrated into each second of your existence. That is when you will be able to build a true brand that stands out. Everything, every communication that you have, externally or even internally, has to speak about your brand in your tone of voice, in your messaging. And culture is where the story begins from. Because if your employees, both security and non security, are not part of the same culture, then they will not be able to position your brand in a way that is needed. Then comes your offering. So, this is basically your services, how they are delivered, and the full experience you offer to clients, not just manpower, but solutions. So, please note that you have to position yourself as somebody who is a security partner, a solutions provider, not somebody who can just get some people on ground wearing uniforms. There is a world of difference between the two. Today, if you are competing as a manpower provider, then you are competing with thousands of other private security agencies. But the moment you start positioning yourself as a security solutions provider, then your competition reduces significantly. So this is where you have to talk about your offering. Then comes reasons to believe. This means that you have to give the proof that you can be trusted, such as client results, testimonials, certifications, or strong retention rates. Please understand this, and I have been vocal about this in all of my previous videos as well. that any new business that you get today in the private security industry, most likely you will only get it if you have a strong referral. So that is your reason to believe for a potential client. If you have a strong referral, if you have great positive testimonials from genuine clients of yours, then that makes your case much stronger than any other social media ad or a website page or a company brochure. So you have to first and foremost focus on building these reasons to believe, so that next time you are in front of a potential client, you can already tell them that you are trustworthy. And that is what will lend your brand the strength that is only unique to you. And that is what will help you stand out from the crowd. Then comes promise. This is the consistent value your clients can count on. What you always deliver, regardless of the solution or client type. So we usually talk about minimum wages, right, in the private security industry, where it is discussed that this is the bare minimum that a security guard has to be paid. But what about the minimum standard of services, right? Regardless of whatever the contract value is, this is the bare minimum that you will give anyway to any of your clients. Define that and make it a promise to deliver that regardless of the market conditions at that point in time. This will again strongly tie back to your offering and reasons to believe. So all these steps have to be in sync with each other, because as I said, a brand flows across an organization. So your brand has to flow across all these steps. Then comes competition. So here in this section of the brand canvas, when we talk about these particular line items, we have our competitors in mind. While we were here, we were mostly thinking about our own private security agency, even though we wanted to stand out, but we were thinking intrinsically as to what do we have to offer internally. But here, when we talk about in this section, we are thinking more externally, right? So what is your competition? It is basically the other PSAs or service models that you compete with. By the way, as a private security agency, I do have a question for you. Let's say in the next 2 years, do you think that only other private security agencies are going to be your competition? Or do you think that technology driven service providers, such as CCTV providers or AI video management softwares, etc., even they are going to be your competition? Because at the end of the day, your end client is trying to optimize on what they're spending on security. So, this is a question that you must think about. And then comes positioning. This is the unique space you want to own in your client's mind, how you are different and why that matters. So here you have to differentiate yourself on the basis of your strong suit. So let's say you are a private security agency, but you are really good at executive protection. So is there a possibility that you can position yourself in the mind of your clients in a way that whenever they think about executive protection, only and only your name crops up? That is how you have to think about this, right? If you are a private security agency who is offering, let's say, five kind of services, you are offering private investigations, executive protection, event management, man guarding, and whatnot, then you are basically not really in the minds of your clients for a particular use case. So that is what you have to see. What is your strong suit? What is most profitable for you as a private security agency to work with? That is the mind share then that you have to occupy in your client's mind. Then comes communication. All the ways you show up publicly, from your guards presentation to your online presence and client facing materials. As I said, if you are trying to build a strong brand, everything that you do, every step that you take has to be in conjunction with your brand positioning. So if you see here 360 PSA, which is my company, we have a color scheme of browns, right? And that is what you will see all across. That is the primary color, right? So what I mean is that even small bits and pieces of how you operate create a big impact, a significant impact on how your brand is actually perceived. So how your guards are wearing their uniform, their body language, how are they presenting themselves to the end clients. All these things matter. And this is your mode of communication, because remember that you might not be interacting with your end clients on a daily basis, but your guard force is doing that. So your guard force is actually your medium of communication with your end client. So you have to ensure that they are in line with the brand positioning that you are going for. And then comes audience. This is where you think about the clients, the decision makers, and influencers who need to know and believe in your brand to grow your business. So think about this. Today, as a private security agency, if I get you a meeting with the CEO of a big MNC, what is your pitch going to sound like? Versus, let's say, I get you a business meeting with the promoter of a traditionally run family business. Is your pitch going to be the same? If your answer is yes, then that is something that you have to think about. Because depending on who you are going to pitch to, your communication, your wording, your tone has to change. Because you have to understand who the decision maker is, what are the variables in their mind that they are trying to optimize, and then appeal to the aspiration of that decision maker, right? So, as a private security agency owner, this is your responsibility to craft different pitches and proposals depending on who you are going to reach out. I hope this is totally clear. Then comes investments. This is where you are putting effort and money to build your brand. Uniforms, websites, guard training, tech, marketing, etc. Right? There could be 10 different other options for you to invest in. But the point is that you have to be conscious about spending your time, money, and effort in those channels, in those platforms that are going to give you the most significant return in line with how you want your brand to look like. So you have to be conscious about these steps. And lastly comes the results. This is what you expect your branding to achieve, like better leads, stronger trust, higher pricing power, or national recognition. While we would want all of the results all at once, but that is not really how branding works. You have to prioritize some outcomes over the others so that your efforts are concentrated, so that you can do a surgical strike and you can get those outcomes in a way that your competitors cannot even think about. So, this is what the brand canvas is going to do. It is going to be an activity which will force you to think, and think in a way that you would have never done till now. So, download this empty brand canvas from the link in the description and do fill it so that you know exactly what you are trying to do with the kind of brand that you are trying to build. And once you have done this exercise, I can assure you that you would have built a brand that your clients will never be able to forget. And that is what will make you the king of this industry.